primetime Poulton, keep it entertaining. You already knowin', outworking everybody and he don't ever quit. Talking about plenty comics like Graveyard Shift, Sea Dogs, Fighting Wolf, U.S. Assassin, doing just what he loves. This is his passion. Bring more value to your dollar. No, I'm not frontin'. That's how just a writer became a moral compass. This is primetime Poulton. This is primetime Poulton. Let's go. It's all about the boom. TMC, baby. It's all about the boom. Cowboy Phil, baby. Hit him with the body slam, elbow drop. TMC, Cowboy Phil, laid pot guys. What you see in the ring are two monsters. Energy of a king and of a rock star. Yeah, drop kick, probably make your heart stop. You ain't ready, super scary, and they staying on top. Hit a ding ding, better watch yourself. It's TMC and Cowboy Phil. Late pot guys, yeah, they the real deal. It's TMC and Cowboy Phil. 2 times a week, you can't compete. They body slam you down, now you taste the beat. The champions, they legendary, nobody like them. Coming for the belt, yeah, they coming for the title. Hey, it's all about the boom. TMC, baby. TMC, yeah. It's all about the boom. Cowboy Phil, baby. Let's go. Cowboy Phil, baby. Hey, 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 yeah, let's go.
What is up, guys? Happy Wednesday. It's the Moral Compass with me, Cowboy Phil McNulty. And Phil, I never get tired of that opening.
You know what? I was singing it the whole time, and like I'm grinning like an idiot because as my fiance says, like, your name is the beat of the song. Like every time they need the drop, they go, Cowboy Phil. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty wild. Sometimes life throws you some crazy like bones here and there, and this is a major one.
I'm glad it makes you happy. I love listening to it. I feel like I don't listen to it enough in my life. So every Wednesday and occasionally every Sunday, I hear that song and all is right in the world.
You know, it's funny because the WWE had some major releases. AEW had some major non-renewals. But here's the thing. I got really excited the fact that Ricky Starks is going to make his debut on WWE television because they're doing a network special for Cody. So it just means life is wonderful.
Yeah, no, I saw that. There's an unreleased clip from his talk with Stone Cold, and he talks about his Nightmare Bar. And Matt Cardone is in it. Ricky Starks is in it. Our man QT Marshall is in
it. Preston Vance is in there. 10 from the Dark Order, yep. And I was just like, wait a second. Oh, that's him under the mask.
Even Aaron Solo makes it.
Who knew that he would appear on WWE television faster than his ex-fiancée Bailey?
I know. Missing in action, Bailey. So, Phil, how are you doing, man?
I am in the shit right now, if we're being honest. This month is absolutely insane. I got my graduation coming up in 2 weeks. I got to finish my test by the end of next week. Then by next weekend, I'll be able to take on some pages. So my test is done, should be done by next Friday. That means I get to start, and then it's my graduation, my brother's wedding, my student's art show, and then it's full on go for PCO.
Yep, PCO. He was hitting me up the other day. He's excited. He wants to see some pages. I said, my guy's almost ready.
Almost ready.
Phil, Free Comic Book Day is this Saturday. Do you have any plans?
I have no plans. I got to get this is the thing about grad school. It literally eats up every aspect of your life. So no, I'll be home testing.
I will be at the Hamilton Mall in Egg Harbor Township. I'll be one of their many guests. Dexter Weeks, colorist of Black Owl and Viking Wolf, will be there, tabling next to me. I'm excited. It's from 10 to 5. So if you're in the New Jersey area, man, stop by the Hamilton Mall. They turn the whole mall into like a Comic-Con, and it's incredible. It's absolutely awesome time. But other than that, Phil, I'm doing great. I feel fantastic.
I've been seeing the shredded pics.
You know what? Yeah, arms are getting huge, Phil. I'm feeling, I don't know. Sean, best friend Sean, said, you know, he back in the MySpace days, my profile pic was a double bicep pic because I had huge arms back in the day, and he was so scared to friend me because he thought I was way cooler than him. I'm starting to feel like that guy again.
So best friend Sean is afraid to be a friend again
Well,
because
he
they
knows
look.
he knows I'm a teddy bear now. Back then, he just thought I was this like cool guy, you know. He was way off, but I feel cool.
He bought tickets to the gun show and then was too impressed that it intimidated him.
Yeah, no, yep. I met best friend Sean back in 2007 at Wizard World Chicago, even though we both live in New Jersey, and we've been friends ever since. So I'm starting to feel like that guy back then, and I don't know. I never thought I'd enjoy working out as much as I do making books.
You know, they say it's an addiction. Mine is still on gummy candies and sugar, which my blood tests tell me is no longer good for me.
I have a feeling you're hitting those special gummy candies.
No. Cannot. Cannot. I will say that I have a few of these things called buzz balls. I don't know if you heard of them. New Jersey-based company. They have these
Any
chocolate
relation to
ones.
Smooth My Balls, Phil?
No smooth my balls, but these are buzz balls. It's a all female like winery, and my goodness, they have these chocolate ones that taste like Nesquik. I may have gotten into some. It did hit 5 o'clock somewhere. So, but
Yep.
no, only gummies I'm hitting are the Haribo sour gummies.
All right. I'll believe you for now. All right, Phil. You know what we do before we talk wrestling.
Gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, we got to pay the bills. We got a lot of bills to pay. We're going to talk a lot of different books because there's so much going on right now. Because I feel so great, I decided to take on I'm not taking on the world, but I'm taking on the whole comic industry. I feel right now, Cowboy Phil, and we're starting off with Black Al, which is in demand, and we're only $84 away from 16,000. Phil,
Insane.
yeah, someone needs to I don't know, reach in their sofa cushions and pull out $84 and get us to the 16,000. I'm hoping I can send the files off to the printer this week. Waiting for Ryan, my pre-press guy, to send me the files. Little extra work because I'm using a new printer and he's used to using Mixum, so taking a little longer. But man, I can't wait to get this book off to the printer. I'm so proud of it, Phil. Artwork's fantastic by Greg Poulton. We got this insane cover by Shelby Robertson. And the interior artwork's just amazing. Colors by Andrew Dahlhaus and Dexter Weeks. And we're in demand, but we're not going to be in demand long because I like to shut these down and fulfill my books, Phil.
The king of fulfillment.
Fulfillment king, that's me. Absolutely. So Blackout, if you haven't backed it yet, please consider. And if you have backed it, share the campaign. And, maybe one of your friends will pick the book up. But that's not all we're talking about, Phil. There's way more.
But wait, there's more.
Absolutely. This is the year of the moral compass, Phil.
It's only headed in one direction.
We're in May,
brother.
And we're 10 days away. 10 days, I can't believe it, but we're 10 days away from the launch of Reaper Destroyer from a former member of the Primetime Six, Joe Sontag. We don't hold grudges around here, though, Phil, do we?
Never.
Never. Absolutely not.
We may not forget, but we forgive.
Absolutely. I'm helping Joe with his new book, helping with the story and editing. And this book's fantastic. If you're like an old school Top Cow fan, you're gonna love this book. Joe's drawing it, but he has Matt Bat Banning and Joe Weems inking his pencils. That's insane.
That is insane.
Let's watch Joe's video. What a great trailer.
That's rocking.
Yeah. Great job, Joe. All-star lineup of creators. Joe doing story and art. Me on story and edits. Bat and Joe Weems on inks. Kyle Ritter, colorist of Cyberfrog on colors. And Eric Weathers, who practically letters all of my books except for Black Owl on letters. So all-star team. Book looks amazing. I think people are going to really love it. And I think Joe has a hit on his hands.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's funny because I remember when I first went on the art and stuff, podcast. I remember him showing some of that really early artwork, and you're like, you just knew this was going to be something special. So it's really awesome to see it now. Yeah, right. 10 days away from launch time.
Yeah, it's exciting. And then not far behind that, we got one more book to talk about. And that is, actually, we got two more books to talk about. I lied. But we got U.S. Assassin versus Graveyard Shift, the Ultimate Edition hardcover. And that's going to collect The Mercenary and Volume 3 of U.S. Assassin in one hardcover collection. It's going to have an art gallery with some new artwork. I got a piece by Chris Graves, my workout partner. Joe Sontag's doing a piece as well for the book. And I'll probably have a few more surprises. Maybe we can get some Cowboy Phil artwork in there as well. And this will be my first hardcover I've published of my superhero work. So I'm really excited about this.
I would love to take a stab at some of those characters you've created. I haven't got my hands on them yet. So that'd be some fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It has to happen. And what a perfect opportunity. So this book's launching June 3rd. And the great thing is all this work is already done. We're just presenting it in a new format. So, yeah, this will be another quick turnaround time. Campaign will run from June till August. June 3rd, I guess, to sometime in August it'll end. And we'll hopefully start fulfilling end of August.
You're like the Gene Simmons of CG. You got it all.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a great businessman.
The best in the biz. My favorite band of all time. If you know, I got my Kiss shelf of all, and it's got soda bottles, Funko Pops, action figures, because the man knows how to market.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got minifigures and slam buddies. So I'm trying.
Keychain buddy nows.
Yep, absolutely. And one last thing, Phil. I promoted this last week. We got the Rivals Viking Wolf variant cover. It's over on my Etsy store. I'm going to drop the link. Only $10, Phil. What a bargain. Can't beat it. I'll have some of these with me on Free Comic Book Day as well. But yeah, if you're not able to attend, this is the way to get it. It's on
That
my
is a
store.
great exclusive to have for a free comic book day.
Yeah, and this artwork is just amazing. Nice painted fantasy book. It's in development as a TV show right now. Incredible. So that's all the shilling, Phil. We're going to talk some pro wrestling now. And eventually I'm going to have to pull up the NXT results because I accidentally closed them. But I got the Raw results up, Phil.
The only results we need to know about when it comes to NXT is who's no longer on the show anymore.
Let's talk about that. That's a good segue, Phil. Can drop some names. This was fascinating because there's so many people involved in current storylines.
Malcolm Bivens was the number one on my mind, probably the best talker in the whole federation, if you will.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. He's so great and entertaining, and the mouthpiece for Diamond Mind, and like he was on TV last week. He was giving Roddy Strong the side eye.
We just said last week, oh, is this just the destruction of Diamond Mine so Bivens and the Creed brothers can get called up? And they cut Bivens.
Yeah. And it looks like we're gonna get a breakup between Roddy and the Creed brothers, because Roddy has this heel persona, and the Creed brothers are now baby faces after their feud with Imperium. Also, coming out of these releases, Roddy Strong asked for his release and was denied by WWE because they said he's in their plans for current storylines. Well, wasn't Bivens in their plans?
Well, apparently, here is what's happening. Bivens' contract was so all these people who were set to who were released, two other names, Dexter Lumis and Dakota Kai, both two other shockers.
Yeah.
Apparently, their contracts were all ending up in 30 days. Right. But and all three of them said they weren't going to re-sign their contracts unless they wanted to basically have Bivens have his contract run out and then re-sign at a lower value, where the other two just didn't want to re-sign. So they cut them. So now they all have the 90-day no compete clauses when they only had 30 days left on their contracts.
Yeah.
So they basically did it just to be holes.
Yeah. So I feel like if Roddy Strong got his release, I think he would be a perfect addition to Tony Khan's new Ring of Honor. And of course, he has 3/4 of the Undisputed era. Might as well add Roddy Strong too, so then you can get the Young Bucks, Hangman, and Omega versus Undisputed era feud.
And then, like, if we're thinking about talent going over from AEW, Harland was cut. Baby Brock.
Yeah.
Parker is now back. Now, what did he do? I thought for sure he was going to get skyrocketed to the top. They didn't even give him a chance.
So did I. I mean, he was partnered with Joe Gacy, who's in the main event, and then all of a sudden he's no longer there.
We said this is the only reason why Gacy had validity to have a chance to win if he was going to be this sort of muscle. We even said it was going to be the Heyman and Lesnar 2.0 coming up, and they cut their Lesnar.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, if you're AEW, do you take the stab? You're seeing how Hook is getting reaction. Imagine if you get Parker coming in. That's just a man.
Adam the Team Taz.
That would be a great pickup for them. But I mean, other names, Persia Parada being the only other real name of significance of this list.
In a current storyline too, with Duke Hudson and Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis. They even referenced it this week.
But I guess not. They didn't care to end these storylines. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no. I mean, Indy and Duke sort of just like were in the locker room looking sad, and Duke tried to kiss Indy, and she wanted none of it. So I don't know. Did I guess your imagination runs wild? Did Dexter Loomis run off with Persia Parada, or are they just acknowledging that they were released and they're no longer work together?
Or you know what? I'm intrigued. I want to see how they. You know what? We're not going to get that. We're going to get
No.
it simply as they never existed.
Yeah, no, they'll never acknowledge this again, probably.
Right. And really, that's your NXT releases.
Yeah, I gotta say though, and we'll talk about NXT after we go through Raw. But I was thinking, I feel like NXT is the closest thing we have to the Attitude Era, Phil.
It is really it is the show of all wrestling shows that goes the fastest. Like you don't realize when it ends because you're actually entertained through most of it.
And like some of the stuff they do, you would never see it on WWE.
Oh no, no, no. Like I think that's why we like Gacy
Yeah.
as the character because you know that probably Vince has been dying to get a character like this on television, but because he has to cater to a certain audience, he can have him be in this little side project.
Yep, and no, and they cater to another audience too. Leandro's not with us, but they cater to the to the male demographic.
And the way Spring Breakin ended was amazing, amazing.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk a little Raw now. It kicks off with the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns coming down to the ring with Paul Heyman. Basically, it's setting up WrestleMania Backlash. And how crazy is it that WrestleMania Backlash has there's like 6 championships involved in this, and none of them are being defended in this main event picture.
Like you just had a pay-per-view. I'm sorry, you had your biggest pay-per-view, your signature show that even non-wrestling fans go in to tune in to watch of unifying the two unifying to have one main championship belt. And you're not even defending it on the next pay-per-view and you're just forgetting that 2 weeks ago you said we're going to unify the belts, and now it's a 6-man tag.
Yeah, it's very weird. And like Drew McIntyre was added to this out of nowhere. Originally, it seemed like Shinsuke Nakamura was in the plans for this, but then they pivoted to Drew McIntyre. And I don't even think McIntyre is the right choice. How many times have we seen McIntyre versus Reigns over the last 4 years?
I would actually credit McIntyre for being the opponent that got Roman Reigns' heel gimmick over as a face. This is where the fans actually started to cheer for Roman was during the start of this McIntyre feud. So why go back to it?
Yeah, I feel like maybe they think it's too early to pull the trigger, but I think it should have been Cody in the spot. Cody and RK Bro versus the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this should have been how we booked it, in all honesty. Unify the tag titles, start adding more significance to championship matches, have the RK Bro split up, but have Riddle be the heel turn because it's a different look since actually face Randy Orton's getting over.
Mm-hmm.
Like more than any time Randy Orton has been a face has gotten over. So you have these storylines in there, and I just don't know what it is. I think it's probably a Fox USA network thing. I think because even if you're executives and you're just watching both of these shows, you're like, Fox is going to get these belts too.
Well, I would think if they're unified, it's what we're seeing right now, and they're going to be on both channels, both brands. All right, so after this, we get into our first match, and it's Kevin Owens teaming up with Alpha Academy versus Ezekiel and the Street Profits. Phil, why do I like Ezekiel so much?
Because it's a meta gimmick. It's a gimmick that hasn't been done in a while. We all know and we're all in on it. And I think Ezekiel does a good job of making us feel included. Like the
Yeah.
poorly like put together photoshops on social media is just a great way to entertain us. And I think Kevin Owens is a great foil to this whole thing. I don't think there would have been any other opponent that could have gotten this Ezekiel gimmick over.
Yeah, I think that's why I enjoy it so much because Kevin Owens is so like I don't know. He's so like incensed that no one realizes this is Elias.
Because he's the sane man in a crazy world.
Hmm.
And because he's the sane man in a crazy world, everyone thinks he's crazy. And that's what makes it so good. And Kevin Owens plays it so well.
Yeah, and I've said it before, Phil. How good is Chad Gable?
The it makes me wish their title reign wasn't as short as it was because you can tell they're finally getting over as a really good tag team.
He's getting over as a really good character.
Yep.
I would love to see him get a solo run, maybe like Intercontinental Champion, something like that.
I I think I don't know if he hasn't been given the shot or he just hasn't fumbled or he's just fumbled too many of these opportunities. Remember, like I feel like Shorty G.
Mm.
I mean, I know that was a terrible gimmick, but like it just doesn't seem like he's got the charisma to be by himself. He needs someone to play off of.
Maybe I feel like he's really gotten himself over with the whole shoosh and this whole like valedictorian gimmick, which is real life. So I think he's just turning up the volume on his real personality.
Mm,
But yeah, I would love for him to get a singles run and be. I mean, I'd love to see him in the main event picture, but I could see him being like a secondary champion, like a intercontinental or a U.S. champ.
yeah, why not?
All right, so the uh, Ezekiel rolls up Gable for the win.
Mm.
Street Profits. I felt like they were teasing a Street Profits heel turn, and then they were like, "Yeah, no, they're still baby faces."
I think something happened along the lines where I can tell you Vince happened somewhere along these lines where you had some really good storylines set up and they were all just chopped down at the knees. Like it feels like they had remember we talked about it was a 3 consecutive good weeks of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
This feels like the one where it's starting to go off the wheels again. It feels like that they had something so good and now we're not getting the payoff from all three weeks of that setup. So why
yeah.
get invested again?
Next up, we get Veer versus Bert Hansen, another squash match for Veer. I feel like there was more interest in Veer when he was coming to Raw before he
Yeah.
actually arrived.
Well, we knew it was going to happen. How many times does a guy get a bunch of promos? He comes in, he's huge, he squashes a guy, and that's it because he can't get on the mic. He can't get himself over.
Yeah, I feel like the last time they did these squash matches well was with Braun Strowman when he first got his singles run. But
Mhm.
then you had a guy like James Ellsworth, an enhancement guy who like really made that interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he had a. I mean, the whole screaming his name as an entrance was pretty hilarious. It wasn't until the WWE machine got behind him and they tried to make it the Strowman Express.
yeah,
That's when it dies.
yeah. Next up, Damien Priest versus AJ Styles. AJ gets the win, but he gets beat down afterwards, and he gets some help. It was Bullet Club week this week, Phil. Do you think this is why they did it?
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Probably it's the only, or they're just like, here's 2 small guys against 2 large guys. The visual will be great.
So they had Finn paired up with the Good Brothers. They had AJ paired up with the Good Brothers, but they never paired up all four. And they teased it in a couple backstage
Mhm.
segments. Why do you think that is? Wasn't their
Because
creation?
yeah, I think it's all about like, oh, this will be a good Easter egg, cheap pop, when they kind of don't want to. They want to sacrifice good storylines for the cheap pop moment. You know,
Right.
it's like we won't make knowledge until the fans make an uproar, and that's it. That was worth it. When really, just make it entertaining. Make it what it was.
Yeah. In Bullet Club news, Juice Robinson joined Bullet Club over in New Japan.
Good for him. They
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah. So actually, they're looking pretty powerful. They got Jay White. The Good Brothers are over in New Japan. You got Juice Robinson, and then you got Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens and Ishimori. So a pretty good group.
I think this is. I think Juice Robinson's your next leader of Bullet Club.
Oh, you think so?
I think this is the start of it. I think we're gonna get a nice storyline. It's gonna end with Switchblade getting knocked out,
Becoming a baby face?
babyface, and then I think ultimately his contract will end, and
AEW.
he'll AEW. Yep, and he'll be the main event. Listen, if it's one thing that we've learned from AEW over the past weeks, there's a reason why CM Punk is fighting Hangman Page for the championship belt. And I think CM Punk's may get the strap because this Hangman run is it's he's not a champion, he's a challenger, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, the chase was great with
Mhm.
Hangman, but yeah, I want CM Punk to be the champion. That puts like real credibility on that belt.
I mean, Omega was a great champion. His title reign was pure gold. And he went from but that's a good thing about it. He's a great challenger and an even better champion because he just understands what you have to do to be champion. CM Punk's the same type of way. Hangman just I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was his initial feud with the whole Lance Archer thing, or I think they just put him up against the bigger baby face and Adam Cole, and the wrong guy won.
Yeah, I think it was too soon in Hangman's title run to go up against Adam Cole because it did Adam Cole no favors losing to Hangman when he was clearly who the people wanted, I think.
If you take a look at the AEW uh, rankings, number one is CM Punk, and number two is Powerhouse Hobbs. Like that, and number five is Adam Cole. That shows you the disparity between who they have at the top right now with we said they were all loaded with main eventers. Well, now Moxley and Daniel Bryan are off doing their thing, and Kenny Omega's hurt, and you
Yeah.
got to put it on Punk.
And shiny new toy Keith Lee, what happened to him?
He's thrown in this tag title thing with Swerve.
Tony Khan has too many shiny new toys, and he doesn't know how to prioritize them, I think.
Yes, yeah, totally.
But while we're on the subject of AEW, I hate to jump around. Stu Grayson taken off the roster.
He wanted more money. They weren't giving it to him.
Yeah, that's
the Dark Order's over, right?
Pretty much.
they are trying to juice this lemon, and it's bone dry.
Yeah, they missed a golden opportunity, I think, for them to be like the top babyface act in the company.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. When they first came out, what was the Dark Order's claim to fame is that the one Dark Order member didn't punch Dustin. He was kind of air punching, and no one liked when they used the minions to seat on it. No one cared about the Dark Order. It wasn't until Evil Uno came up with the suit, and you're like, oh, this is different. And then he says, our leader's coming. Brody Lee made the Dark Order, and they missed out having a new leader come in, and it's gonna end up being unless Bray Wyatt comes in, but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and being the elite happened, and John Silver showed his personality, and then those Dark Order segments really got the group over.
Yeah,
and that included Brody Lee, like. just getting pissed off at them and throwing papers in their face, and it became a whole thing.
Yeah, and it's a shame, but as Triple H says, evolution, adapt or perish.
Yeah. So back to Raw. We have Mustafa Ali in a handicap match against Austin Theory and The Miz. If he can beat the two of these guys, he gets a title shot against Austin Theory. But it's a numbers game, and Miz hits him with the skull-crushing finale. So no title shot yet for Mustafa Ali. They keep hinting at Mustafa Ali asking for his release, but they never outright say it. Are they just catering to the smart fans, or are they actually going to mention it?
I mean, but I think the real story is what happens after the match.
And Tommaso Ciampa attacks him, or just Ciampa now.
Just Ciampa.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Are they using Ali to get Ciampa over, or are they going to sacrifice Ciampa to try to get Ali over? Because I don't know, and that's a scary proposition to not know.
And there was rumors that Ciampa was going to be part of Edge's new crew.
Yes. So
I wouldn't mind a 6-man between Edge, Priest, Ciampa against AJ, Finn, and Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, but I mean, this has got to be the only reason I honestly think that this is Ali's push, and I think they're going to give him a shot. I think Vince probably said, "All right, kid, let's see what you got." And I think The Miz probably added validity to it from a few weeks ago, saying, "No, why would I win that match?" Putting him over. So I think this is the start of a little Ali push. Who knows?
Yeah, I really don't see them having any big plans for Ciampa. I think that's why Triple H went out on his last match and gave him his flowers. Basically, this was his send off because he knew what was coming for him.
Anyone who goes to the main roster, it's almost like a funeral flowers.
Yeah. Has there been anyone who went from NXT to the main roster and had more success?
Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens kind of was there for a hot minute.
Yeah. The story the story hasn't been written yet for LA Knight.
I think I mean Rusev probably.
Yeah.
Definitely Elias.
That wasn't really that wasn't the same NXT.
Yeah. Well, Elias,
that's true.
He went from the Drifter to Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn, I would say, has had more success. I mean, he's a different success. Definitely more character entertaining than wrestler entertaining.
I guess you could say the same thing about Baron Corbin.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Lone Wolf the Happy, yeah. But you notice they're all the same guy. It's whoever Vince.
Yeah.
Like even Sami Zayn's not what he's supposed to be. He's a joke.
Yeah.
Character. Like I think the only one he probably really likes is Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Then we get Nikki, almost a superhero, versus Dana Brooke, 24/7 title. Dana Brooke wins it back, and then I guess Reggie tries to roll her up. Just give the belt to R-Truth and retire it. I don't even want to talk about this segment. These segments are terrible. They're trash. I want to shed a tear for Mick Foley's career each time I see the 24/7 title. All right, moving on then. Cedric Alexander versus Lashley. Lashley with the victory. All these matches do where they pit Lashley against his former Hurt Business partners make me sad we didn't get a longer Hurt Business run.
I saw Cedric Alexander. I'm like, oh no, buddy. Oh no.
What could have been, Phil?
Shelton Benjamin next week.
Then main event time, we get a 6-woman match. Asuka, Liv Morgan, and Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, and Sonya Deville. I gotta admit, I kind of like Sonya Deville getting a title shot and getting some spotlight.
I
I
don't
think she's a good
at all.
character.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So uh, Liv Morgan got the win for her team when she pinned Sonya Deville. I don't know.
Liv, what is the deal with Liv Morgan?
Yeah,
Why do people like her? And what am I
I know
missing?
why they like her. Same reason I like her. She's pretty. I'm not wrong.
I mean, no, but she's like a generic cheerleader. Like she's on like you know the character. It's on Saved by the Bell. God, I'm really dating myself. Saved by the Bell. It's the same character on it's the same character on other Friday night television
No,
shows. Like
I don't think so. I mean, I think she has some edge to her.
but she's just generic.
Mm,
Look at her in ring gear. She might as well have just copied Asuka's look.
I would say that she's
She's a creator wrestler. She's the one. Remember in the old school SmackDown games, you during the Royal Rumble, they would send some like random jabron down there, and it was just like the creator wrestler, like some random thing. Like that's what she feels like. Some creator wrestler jabron sent to the ring.
I don't agree with you. I
I
agree to
will
disagree.
I will take that to my grave. I listen, I don't normally know when I'm right. Right. But I know I'm right
Think you're
on
right.
this one.
All right. Uh, that leads me to the question: whatever happened to Alexa Bliss? She was
Alexa
given a
Bliss is on
terrible
her
gimmick, and they
she,
can't think of anything to do with her.
she's on her honeymoon right now, so congrats to Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. But they brought her back for Elimination Chamber, and they did all these segments with her getting her doll back, and it led to nothing. She wasn't even
No,
on WrestleMania.
no.
Yeah.
It won't lead to anything either.
All right, Phil, talk to the people who are going to watch this later on replay while I look for the NXT results.
So here we go. WWE NXT 2.0 Spring Breakin'. It had it was one of the most entertaining NXT 2.0 cards. And I know we sound like a broken record all the time when it comes to NXT 2.0. We say something crazy happens where we say the show's gonna fail. And somehow it's really because it feels like they're, excuse me for a lack of a better phrase, it feels like they're trimming the fat. We talked about Dexter Loomis, but Dexter Loomis is not needed on this program, right?
Where do you think he's already changed his name to Sam Shaw? Where do you think he shows up? I think he's
Impact.
good. I think he's good. Well, he has a history there. I think he would fit in perfectly with MLW. Dario Cueto makes a call, brings in a killer to take out Hammerstone or someone. There you go.
I would not be surprised. I don't think he's not an AEW guy. I think he's more of an ROH guy than an Impact guy, but I'll say because he has ties there that they'll try to give him another shot. Why not? He could surprise us like Macklin.
Yeah. So spring break-in. Let's talk how this starts off. You see the yoga pants, you see the Daisy Dukes, and it's Pretty Deadly, the new NXT tag team champions.
Pretty Deadly is so my brother who watches the show, shout out to the outlaw, Pat McNulty. I text him, he doesn't watch the WWE. He's like, there's nothing there for me. And I sent him some video clips and some pictures and some posts of Pretty Deadly. And he goes, okay, I think I can get behind these guys. They are the most entertaining tag team in professional wrestling right now. They are hilarious.
I assume they came from NXT UK. I never even heard of these guys until they showed up on NXT.
These guys, so these were like I call them I haven't seen Twitter darlings like them since the Young Bucks. Like the Young
Yeah,
Bucks were like the very first Twitter darlings. These guys were like the second Twitter darlings. A lot of GIFs, a lot of just short clips of them doing outlandish things outside of the ring and then
yeah,
just doing as equally cool stuff in the ring. So they sort of built that little following through social media, and I'm glad that it's continuing to go through into our televisions because these I I think this is a great gimmick. I absolutely love it. They are and they're serious. Like I feel like I buy them as champions.
yeah. No, they're very entertaining.
Mm.
So after that great opening, we go straight into a championship match, North American Championship 3-way. Cameron Grimes defends against Solo Sikoa and Carmelo Hayes. Cameron Grimes retains. Any surprise there for you, Phil?
Um, no, I think it was either him or Solo that was going to walk out with the title. Um, I was more convinced that Grimes was going to win as soon as I saw that they weren't going to unify the belts because I
Yeah,
thought this is going to be a way to get the bloodline over on NXT if they're unifying titles.
yeah. So yeah, shout out to Cameron Grimes. I think Carmelo Hayes. Uh, I I think he has a bigger future than the North American title. I see him
Mm.
being a challenger for Braun Breaker down the line, if
Yeah,
not his next challenger.
I think this is a really good. This was like almost a glimpse into the future. This match because these are the I would say the next three top guys in NXT 2.0. It's almost like the lack of a better comparison, the Jericho Benoit angle, intercontinental European
Yeah,
title days. Like that these three guys are going to be your next big three.
yeah, and it's kind of surprising that
Mhm.
Cameron Grimes is one of those guys, but he's really stood out since he joined the brand.
You know what? And he plays. I gotta give him that storyline with Duke Hudson and him coming back with the haircut and being more like debonair. He played both characters really well, and his in-ring work is solid. He's a really good babyface.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Next up, we get so this is a straight out of Attitude Era storyline. I would think Mandy Rose goes to the tanning salon, strips down to her bikini, gets in the bed, and then Wendy Chu and Roxanne show up and they lock her in the tanning bed.
This was so good because you knew like, oh, they are not going to let this go. This is going to be a storyline that's going to last for just not for the rest of this episode, but for upcoming weeks. This was what made professional wrestling fun when they could introduce something horrific happen to like the villain and play that up over weeks.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Then we get the Creed brothers backstage with Roddy Strong. Roddy has taken over leadership of Diamond Mines, and he played this up on Twitter right after Malcolm Bivens was released. He tweeted, "Side eye will not be tolerated.
Mhm.
Diamond Mines is mine." Which I was like, "Wow, that's that's great that they incorporated the release into the storyline."
Yeah, I think you know what? Some Roddy Strong is like
He's
he's the
underrated, Phil.
yeah. I mean, he lives on. He has how many miracles is this now? Like he comes back for the Dusty Classic. They say, "Oh, come on in." His tag partner goes, and they say, "Oh, well, you know what? You can join the top faction we have on this brand." And really, he's made everything work. So why not?
Yeah. Um, yeah, he's a favorite of mine. I hope things work out with him. I have a feeling he's there to put the Creed brothers over, and then he's going to be off TV until they finally decide to release him. That's what I'm afraid of. But I hope they really do have long-term plans for him if they don't give him his release.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? Like I was like fantasy booking Roddy Strong. If you put him on the main roster, and you gave him a mouthpiece like Malcolm Bivens, you could get him over I don't know, like he's the messiah of the backbreaker in Ring of Honor. You could just give him a gimmick where he destroys people. He doesn't talk. He's like an Iceman. He's like a Dean Malenko, and Bivens is his mouthpiece.
Yeah, that's the only way you could portray him as a serious character. Otherwise, I'd have him be the guy who thinks he's tougher than everyone, almost like a Napoleon type character.
Yeah, or just put him in LA Knight's modeling.
Yes, that's where he's going. He's going into he'll be the Crash Holly of this modeling stable.
Then we get Indy Hartwell in the locker room with Duke Hudson. They both look sad. They never acknowledge their partners were released, but all the smart fans know what's up.
Yeah.
And Duke Hudson goes for the kiss, and she's like, "Hell no!" And that's I think that's the only I don't know, reference to these releases we're going to get for this story.
Agreed. I mean, honestly, it was good. I didn't mind it. I think they have the best set of writers on. I don't know if they're the best because they're not micromanaged, or they're the best because they just get the right television. I don't think they really care about the wrestling aspect as much as, all right, we have these wrestlers are going to do their thing in the ring. We just need to get them there.
So, I mean, after Triple H was taken out of power, the word is that Vince and Bruce Pritchard took over NXT. Do you think this is like if they're in charge of the storylines, why don't we get storylines this good like on Raw or SmackDown?
I don't know. I would say.
Do you think because they play it too safe on the main roster and they're willing to do crazy things on NXT?
I think it's the fact that they're so worried about getting network subscriptions, right?
Yeah.
And that NXT still is probably more watched on the network than it is on cable television. So I think they're just all about the network. And I feel like the other shows they've almost trapped themselves into. They said, we've already got billions of dollars from these companies. We don't need to put out our best product. We just need to put out something that's going to keep us getting sponsorships.
Right.
Where this one is, hey, we need more subscriptions now that we're on Peacock. People will see more of our videos, will be monitored and everything. Let's actually put the work into this one. And I think that's all it is. I think it's just that they get to have more fun with it because they're trying to establish it for a network.
Right. Next up, we got Grayson Waller taking on Nathan Frazier in his NXT debut. Kind of a shocker here. They gave Nathan Frazier the win over Grayson Waller, who seems like he's been one of their NXT 2.0 faces of the company. Nathan Frazier trained by Seth Rollins, which I didn't know.
I only saw that until they said Seth Rollins trainee wins his first match, and I was just like, what? No, I think Grayson Waller he's a good heel. He's the heel where his win-loss record doesn't matter. Unless he makes it matter. And I think that's what we always say, different in ring gear, and he'd be a stud.
Yeah, I mean, he may be the best athlete in NXT right now. That dive he does into the ring and does into a roll and then a cutter is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, he gets it. He understands that he doesn't have to be all serious all the time, but he understands that just because he's when he's doing jokes doesn't mean you can't take him serious as well. He gets it. I think he just needs a gimmick for him. Someone needs to craft that story for him.
Add him to the modeling agency, Phil.
That's all we're gonna have a stable of 12 people walking in with LA Knight.
Honestly, I think they didn't do him any favors by breaking him up with his heater. I thought it was way too soon. I thought they were a good pair.
Yep, agreed.
So Nathan Frazier with the win. Then we get this sit-down meeting between Legado del Fantasma and Tony D. And Tony D's crew is as whack as can be.
So I started to watch a television show on Paramount. It's called The Offer, and it's the true life story of the making of The Godfather. Right? It's everywhere, and it's about the mafia and trying to shut down the production of The Godfather, but they don't want to be known as the mafia, so they're known as the the Republic of Italian Citizens or whatnot. But it's clearly the
Yeah.
mafia. Someone has watched Paramount with me apparently on NXT and said, "Oh man, the Godfather's getting a renewal in hype. Let's go have these gangsters go meet up with another set of family."
And they're setting Tony D up to be the babyface in this story.
Why?
I don't, other than those two people we saw at the AEW screening at Cinemark, I don't know of anyone who likes this guy.
You know, Tony D's crew is the worst crew of guys. I watched them. I'm like, what a bunch of jabrones. Those jabrones.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me the Mamalukes from WCW with Disco Inferno,
Yes.
Tony Mamaluke, and Big Vito
Big. Oh my God.
and Johnny the Bull. Yeah,
No,
give me those guys.
Big Vito.
This was terrible. I hated it. Then we get the Viking Raiders versus the Creed brothers. Creed brothers get the victory with the help of Roddy Strong. And then the Creed brothers see that Roddy helped them and they're pissed off. But Roddy tells them a win's a win. This is going to come to a head and we're going to see, I think, Creed brothers become baby faces.
Yep.
I mean, they're already baby faces, I think, to the fans.
Yeah, I think this may be a chance for Roddy to start a new diamond mine, if anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. Then we get Lash Legend and Natalya versus Nikita Lyons and Cora Jade. They know what we want here at NXT. It's like Batista says, "Give me what I want," and they
give me what I want. Nikita Lyons music hits. This is a good step for her to be put. Her working with Natalya only means that they're like, you need to get some work on you now, kid.
Yeah, and her and Cora Jade, the top two baby faces in the women's division. Hear me out, Phil. I'm going to say something crazy. The best women's division in all of wrestling, NXT.
Yeah.
They have star power.
You know what? I was taking a look at AEW rankings, right? And Jade Cargill's the star of that. When Britt Baker's not your champion anymore, Jade Cargill, and she's doing a great job over there. But man, after you get past Britt, it's long list before you get to the cream of the crop again. So, yeah.
They might not have the best in-ring talent, but Mandy Rose, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, Nikita Lyons, Cora Jade, they all look like stars.
Yeah, they do. They're the best presented as well. When people say wins and losses matter in wrestling, all of them have good winning records, so we believe they're stars because they win like stars.
Yeah. So Natty and Cora Jade get the victory after some communication mix up between Natty and Lash Legend. Lash Legend, not a favorite of mine.
Ooh, she's rough.
Yeah.
She is rough in the ring. Oh my God.
But then we go to the beach, Phil. It's spring break-in. We go to the beach. We have Gigi Dolan and JC Jane in their bikinis, and all their belongings are stolen by Wendy Chu and Roxanne.
And
Two more stars, Wendy Chu and Roxanne.
yes, and this is what we're talking about: storylines. They're all stealing the clothes gimmick. I remember with Christian and Jericho back in the day.
Yep. Oh, with their ass cream, if you remember.
Yeah, yes, I do fondly.
So this is a fun episode so far.
Honestly, even the rough parts of this episode were pretty entertaining.
Yep. And
I
then
mean, probably not in the way they intended it to be entertaining, but man, those Tony D goons were.
yeah, you take away the Tony D segment, and this episode is absolutely amazing. Then main event time: Braun Breaker versus Joe Gacy, my favorite guy on NXT. Getting the who would have thought when NXT 2.0 started, Joe Gacy would be in the main event as a wrestler.
Right.
But he looked good. He looked credible.
And they, dare I say, they booked this to perfection. They gave us a little bit of the match we wanted. We thought this is going to be a great match, and they hit us with the storyline to say, you got to probably wait for the bigger event to get this payoff, and hook, line, and sinker. This is professional wrestling booking at its finest.
And Braun wearing his dad's pink tights, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it felt like classic wrestling. It felt like I don't think I felt like I was watching like professional wrestling in a long time. This made me feel like I was watching professional wrestling. This was Saturday morning type professional wrestling love.
So it ends with Breaker winning, and as they go off the air, there's two hooded guys, I guess two of Gacy's guys, like waiting for him. Who do you think they are? Do you think they're anyone or just?
I don't even think the WWE knows. They just know that we could put hooded figures and they could be anybody we want them to be.
Yeah, my mind's racing with the possibilities. It could be someone from the main roster. It could be two guys who haven't appeared before.
Do you want to know what I would do?
Please tell me.
I would put the Viking Raiders in suits, and I would no longer make them be Vikings. I would make them be like distinguished, woke gentlemen because Gacy helped them see the light.
I don't hate that.
Like, no more pillaging. It's disrespectful to women. You know, like I want them to be so woke and denounce every like Viking and pirate and raiding type thing, you know, that I think they would be like, we don't spread war, we spread love now. And that would just be amazing.
I wouldn't mind that. And that interview they gave before their match with the Creed brothers made it seem like they were here to stay in NXT.
Yes, it did. And that's what made me say, if you're gonna keep them there, no one liked them as the Viking Raiders, and I think both guys can actually speak on the mic if you give them a chance. So let's just make them like sharp, almost right to censor itch, like with Bull Buchanan and the Good Father.
Yeah, no, I'm all for this. Make it happen, Phil. Bruce, if you're watching, book it, man. So there you go. Another great episode of NXT. Talking about NXT just makes me happy, Phil.
You know what? I on Sundays when I'm still doing my work, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till we go back on Sundays because NXT 2.0 makes me happy. It makes me want to talk more about professional wrestling. That's what NXT 2.0 does, people.
Yeah, we haven't talked AEW or Impact in a long time, so we're going to have to get back to those Sunday shows, Phil.
Yep, you got it.
So, Phil, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at AnimatedPhil and my Etsy shop in the comments and the link below.
And you guys can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Coney Waves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton. Hit the notifications. Black Al still in demand, but not much longer. So make sure you order it. And if you have already ordered it, share the link to your friends. Sign up for Reaper Destroyer launching in 10 days on Indiegogo. And then U.S. Assassin versus Graveyard Shift, the Ultimate Edition hardcover, launches June 3rd. It's going to be a great year, Cowboy Phil, and I'm glad you're a part of it.
I'm ready to ride off with you, partner.
All right, guys, we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.